Hello once again. In this video, we're going to be talking about academic success again. What we're going to delve into is what are the measurements we use to determine academic success? How do we quantify it? What does it mean, academic success? So today, we'll be exploring those ideas on how we go about measuring academic success. In the first part of this video, we're going to be talking about what the most common methods we currently use to measure academic success. Second part of this, we'll be talking about how those actually measure academic success. Third, we'll be talking about why we use those. Fourth, we'll be looking at other ways to expand our view of what academic success is, taking a broader lens at that. And fifth, we'll be taking a look at some tips on how we can really assess students' academic success well. So what do we use to measure academic success? There's two things we want to talk about here. First is on the individual level, and then we're looking at kind of globally. How do we measure that for a school district? Because we do, and those give parents, are supposed to give parents kind of information how well their school is performing or their district performs. So first of all, from an individual basis, the most traditional one is the grade point average in classroom grades. And this is really, there's a lot going on within the educational realm about trying to change how we go about grading. And a lot of the theory here is trying to separate out behavior and skills and knowledge. What I mean by that is the behavior of handing homework in on time, handing an assignment in on time, is separate, in the view of many, from the actual skill of whatever that assignment is supposed to be measuring. Your ability to synthesize information, to communicate information, to solve problems, whatever it is, right? So the grade should be reflecting those differently. The challenge many districts have had in implementing that is the behavior, which can be extremely important for long-term success. That's a lot of that mindset type of stuff I'm talking about, right? A whole lot of that mindset will show up in the behavioral aspect. And if you don't give any meaning to those grades, then those grades are meaningless, right? So when you say, yeah, you got an A in this, but boy, you are constantly late for class, you put no effort in, you don't communicate with other kids, you don't do your homework on time, blah, blah, blah. Sure, you know your stuff, but all these mindset-related issues aren't any good, but the kid still graduates with honors, then that behavior part isn't showing up in the overall ranking. The question becomes, are those skills also part of academic success? Standardized testing, that helps us to normalize things across districts, across states, which is one reason why there's been this effort to get more of these national kind of tests, meaning that like schools will use the Iowas, schools will use the NWEAs, they will use the SAT test, whatever it is, the more schools that use it, the better you can find out how your child, how your school, how your district is doing with certain skills and body of knowledge that these tests are supposed to be testing for compared to other students the same age across regions, across the country, and in some cases even globally, right? Certain tests that are given in the United States are also given internationally. The reason classroom grades are so important is the teacher is there and they can begin to really kind of assess through what they are doing in the classroom, both the behavioral mindset kind of related things and their skill sets. And those things should, if being done well, be factored into an overall assessment and grade that parents can look at and students can look at and see how they're doing compared to certain standards that have been lined out. This is what your child should be able to achieve. This is what they should be able to achieve for an A. This is what they should be able to do for a B, what have you. Rubrics is the language of education. And if you hit those benchmarks, then that essentially becomes a grade. So that's kind of a movement towards this. And why they are doing that is if every student can meet this expectation, then that means every student would get a B. Some get an A. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this within education too, is how to differentiate within those ranges so that the truly exceptional child is being shown that they really do have these exceptional skills, even within the classroom. So district to district can really change, and it's important for parents to kind of look at how they are grading, what's the goal that they have, and what is their system. Is it truly reflecting both what the student knows and can do, as well as those academic behaviors that are so important, not just inside the classroom, but how they transfer outside the classroom. As the education industry has looked at assessing students, they've begun to try to figure out how can we assess other skills, other important aspects to the child's development beyond their academic skills. Academic skills are very important to tell parents and even others, colleges who might be looking at developing this, that higher learning for the child, whether they'll be able to handle more high caliber intellectual discipline and challenges. But that really is one piece of what really goes into determining a person's success in life. Right? I have in all these videos constantly talking about mindset, but that is so important in every area. It will drive your academic success. It will drive your success in music, in the arts, in athletics, in business, in theater, in whatever realm you go down. Your mindset's going to help drive your success in that area. Schools have wanted to begin to measure some of these things, right? This behavioral component, but also things like social emotional. How well do you interact with other people? Because that is a very valuable skill to have. If you're a real good people person and can communicate well and take ideas, think outside the box, solve problems. Doesn't matter whether you're solving problems mechanically by doing things like with engine repair or electronics or anything like that, or whether it's intellectual, scientific sort of problems that you're trying to figure out. The ability to then work with people and communicate those things are invaluable as well. So trying to measure those aspects to really determine the overall or the more holistic approach to where a student stands, that's been the movement for education now for quite some time. My tips for parents is if your child's in public school is to have a conversation with your teacher. Start with your child, right, as they're bringing home some of their assessments. Ask them if they have things like, did you get a rubric for this? Do you know how that's being graded? Some things might be real cut and dry, right? Math. You might have certain math problems that you had to get them right, and you did or you didn't, that kind of thing. Might get partial credit for showing your work, and where a teacher can see where you made the mistake. So you want to be able to know how the teacher's going about assessing, just so you can help guide your child as well, right? And for that information. And you want to have conversations, look at what the school's doing in terms of behavior and social emotional and those other skill areas and how that will factor in their overall class standing. So asking questions going in, that's kind of what your role is as a parent. Well, I hope you got something out of this video. Our goal here really is to answer those questions and give you that valuable information. If you did find it valuable, I would encourage you to check out our other videos, subscribe to my channel, get lots of different videos out there, getting more all the time, hopefully getting better and better at answering these for you guys in a relatively succinct format. And in particular, we got a video out there on homework and how that homework, does it help develop academic skills or not? So check that video out today, and again, subscribe to our channel.